Okay, next up, MITM on PSTN, novel methods for intercepting phone calls by Kirils Solovjovs.
Thank you so much, and welcome to the final talk of BalCCon2k23. I'm Kirils, and I'm going to talk about, as was just presented by the volunteer here, MITM on PSTN. We're going to learn about what that is briefly, and then talk about attacks. But first, of course, a bit about me. That's me in the corporate version, corporate design. I work, play, and talk. My work is mostly managerial, so I miss hacking a lot, which is why I do a couple of hacks a year and travel the world and then present them. This is one of those. I also am a research assistant at an educational, or rather a scientific institution back in Latvia, and this presentation is a collab between my two workplaces. Now, I do play around as well. A couple years ago, I basically destroyed the concept of electronic documents, and there's a presentation about that. It was fun, yes. And none of the governments in the world, or rather EU, that have to deal with that wanted or could deal with that, so it's broken. I'm sorry. And way back 7 years ago, I wrote some jailbreaks for RouterOS, which is operating system used on MikroTik routers, which is the basis of ongoing MikroTik security research done by many companies in the US and in the EU as well. I also talk here, CCC, some other places, and I'm on social media, so you can follow me. You can follow me at K@KOSocial if you wanna follow my security things. Okay, on to the content. I can't move because of the microphone, so I'm going to stay glued to the podium here. We're going to talk about what PSTN is and what mobile networks are. We're going to talk a bit about social engineering, and then I'm going to combine the 2, or rather 2.5 methods into a novel attack. For those of you technical and inventive enough, you're probably going to find nothing new here. But I've been dreaming about this for a couple of years at night. And I thought it should work, and we tested it, and it did work. So we're going to have a demo, which is pre-recorded for my safety. I don't know the laws of every country I'm in, so I didn't do it in Serbia. So, PSTN, Public Switch Telephone Network. This basically is the worldwide network that connects all the public telephones. Some people were already asking questions about the presentation before the presentation in the launch, so already got to answer some of them. And no, PSTN does not include communication over WhatsApp, Viber, Telegram, Signal, and all that, but does include communication over your mobile phone, over your office phone, if someone has the phone in your home or in your hotel room, and it includes IP telephony as well. Right? So basically, the main feature of PSTN, as it applies to my talk here, is it provides a single global address space of phone numbers. So meaning if I have a unique string of digits, that is that phone number and that phone. Well, there's an asterisk to that. There are different hacks, but we're not talking about that mostly today. But it's unique. And it's super old school. It's like, I don't even know. There are people here older than me, I hope. And they might know how old it is, but it's quite old. All right. But the good thing is that PSTNs are secure. So look, this is from comparison table by a company online that compares the PSTN and voice over IP. So PSTN is highly secure with dedicated telephone lines, which is kind of true, because in order to hack it, you need to physically be there where the line goes. But as soon as you're there, you can intercept it and do whatever you want with it. So because while attacking phone on the wire is trivial, it is very geographically restrictive. Now, the thing is, today I will be presenting attacks that work literally from anywhere in the world on the PSTN. Now, and integral part of the method here is, of course, CLIP, caller line identification presentation. Now, I don't know about other countries. I'm from Latvia, and when we moved to digital mobile communication, so from NMT to GSM, 2G, then the ability appeared for Clip. Clip was implemented. And you could pay your mobile operator an additional €6 per month if you wanted to see the phone numbers of people calling you, if you wanted the Clip data to be forwarded to your phone. And you know how this one guy bought this big social media company and then only paid subscribers get this insecure way to use second factor on the app? I feel that way about Clip, right? Because Clip is shit. I'm getting ahead of myself here, right? But basically, it shows whatever the network or the sender wants you to see, and then we had companies asking you money to see that. So the problem with Clip is here. We have a video here, and basically these are two phones. We can see on one phone we are calling the other phone there. Secret project employee is how it's written in the phone book of the phone on the left, and John Doe is receiving. John Doe is the name that appears on the phone on the right. So that's basically how Clip works, right? So there's phone books involved. In Europe, it doesn't work any other way. We don't have CNAM in Europe. But you get the number transferred. This is normal, no hacking yet. Also, I've blurred out large parts of the videos, but that's mainly because to protect the phone numbers and private data of my colleagues who were good enough to help me with making the video. Right, so back to Clip. Caller line application presentation. As I mentioned, CNAM is also a thing, so US has that. So CNAM is like one step above Clip. I'm not sure if they're charging for that in the US, but basically what you can do in the United States, you can also pass text as the phone number that's calling you. So instead of having to do OSINT and preparing for social engineering really well, what you can do is you can just say my husband or husband that's being transferred or boss or whatever, secretary, right? So it's much easier in my opinion there. Yeah. Caller name delivery is called. Now then there's CLIR, C-L-I-R. It's been there forever. I think it was presented simultaneously with Clip. I use CLIR a lot. That basically means that when you make a phone call, your phone transmits an additional configuration saying that please don't present my phone number to the other party. Now, after it goes through all the mobile networks, what happens in the end is there's like this the actual originator, which does include your MSISDN, and there's the Clip, which doesn't include anything, or in some cases it includes some garbage, which is why some companies can't get my phone calls when I try to call them, because I use CLIR a lot. Anyway, so that's another thing that happens. Take a look here. This is a small demo of hacking if you make also Clip. So we have these two phones on the table. The phone on the left is not being used. The laptop is being used though, and the phone on the right is also not being used. And now we see that the phone on the left is receiving a call from the secret project employee, even though the phone on the right is not in use, right? So this is nothing new. Spoofing phone numbers has been around for forever. Mobile network operators tell us it's impossible to fix. Maybe it is. Too bad. SS7. Another thing, right? Signaling system 7 is basically this metadata channel for all the public switch telephone networks in the world, right? And this is where the metadata goes through. It includes interesting stuff. And Carsten Noll of Germany, of SR Labs, has exposed a lot of stuff and presented mostly at German events, also around the world. You can take a look on the attacks there. I'm not gonna touch upon them. But what we are interested is that SS7 is also used in setup and teardown of circuits, which is the technical name for calls. So basically, before you call, SS7 is used on the back end to set up the call. Your phone does not have direct connection to SS7. That's for the operators to do. It also does number translation, which is also something that we're gonna use, right? And then there are other things that you can hack around with prepaid billing, right? Because if you have a prepaid card and you have roaming, you go abroad, it would be nice for the operator if you didn't spend 1,000 euros and then disappear with your prepaid card, so it's handled there as well. And diversion, basically redirecting the redirecting the calls that are coming in. Now, there are different diversion types that can be used, and we can employ that in one of the attack scenarios, right? There's a permanent diversion where you divert everything. There's the one where you're out of coverage, the one when you don't pick up, and so on. And SS7, as I mentioned, does multiple platitude of other things. Now, finally, the missing component is social engineering, and I think this is why we didn't find any papers or any research on this specific combination of methods and these attacks, because if it includes a degree of social engineering, then it's not really a hack, right? Because it's hard to do social engineering, yeah, and all that crap. But in actuality, it's obviously quite easy. Now, I don't think we had any talks in the agenda on social engineering this year at BalCCon, but there was talk of social engineering for sure in the launch and around the conference area. Social engineering is basically forcing someone to do something that they're not supposed to do, or to provide you with some information that they're supposed to protect. That's the goal of social engineering, and there are many ways to do it, and not gonna go into details on those here, I think. Mobile networks then. What's the difference between a mobile network and PSTN? Well, basically we have additional vulnerabilities in mobile networks. We have A51, which is broken, of course, obsoleted by A53, which is, I think, better. But then again, of course, you can use downgrade attacks to move from the upper frequencies to lower frequencies, and maybe older algorithms as well, because at least in Latvia, once again, that's my background, mobile operators are not too keen on kicking out older phones from their system. I literally still have phones that use A51 that have no A53 support. They still work. I still use phones that don't go above 2G. The frequencies also are still there. I do know that in Europe and US as well, they are cutting off that real quick and reusing the frequencies. But 3G I think is still mostly everywhere, right? And what you can do if you don't have the smarts, what you can do is you can just jam the upper frequencies of 5G, 4G, and then the phone goes down to 3G. There's a comment from the audience that some newer phones will detect that, and that's great. Finally, because so far, the reason I keep the old phone that I'm talking about is it actually displays an icon on the screen if A50 is implemented on the network. The new ones that I have don't do that, but I'm glad to hear there are even newer ones that do. Right. So also we don't have mutual authentication on the old mobile networks, right? Basically, even though it's important for the mobile operator to understand who's connected to the network, the way that the mobile phone knows that it's connected to the right network is a super secret string of 5 digits for each network, which for example, for Latvian mobile telephone is 24701. That enables fun attacks like fake BTS, also known as MC catchers. Once again, in modern networks, in 4G and up, it's a bit harder to implement, but there are algorithms, methods to do that. And mobile networks are, of course, part of publicly switched telephone network because you want to be able to connect between, it's like IPv6 and IPv4 thing, right? You implement IPv6, and then the rest of the world that's still using IPv4 can connect to IPv6, and we have these translation things. And I think that's the idea with mobile networks originally not being separate network, because everyone is using the fixed phones and they need to connect, right? Jokes aside, it is part of PSTN because not only because of backward compatibility, but we legitimately need to call between the different physical implementations of phones. So, with all that in mind, I'm gonna present a video to you in a couple of minutes of the first attack. We call it simultaneous ring attack, and they do involve social engineering, especially this one. I'm gonna show you the video. It's in English, and then afterwards we'll discuss what just happened there. But the more acute of you probably have already put everything together, right? Let's see. So this is a screen recording of the device that's being used to do the attack. Just recording the sound that's coming into the sound cards there, and we are dialing phone there. There's a guy with a phone. And what we can see here, what we should see here, is this phone comes in from the other number.
Hi. I was planning to call you, but I guess this is okay. Can we discuss our secret business? Which one? The one with the secret password. Can you give it to me? Yeah, uppercase is QWERC. Excellent. So, the business is very secret, so don't tell anyone. See ya.
Okay, so the audio here was coming from the actual devices, the actual recording. That's the quality. That's the quality you get. You probably can get better quality. I'm not that good at configuring jack for Linux, but basically that's the idea. So what happened there is, maybe you didn't hear it in the video because of my babbling over it at the beginning, but what happened is there was a simultaneous call. So victim A got a call from victim B, and victim B got a call from victim A. And our theorem, our hypothesis here is that even though there may be initial confusion about who called who, if you time it right, and if the two people are supposed to get in touch around that time, they will move that problem, like they will postpone that discussion to later time about who's calling who, and they will discuss the topic at hand, right? So, and then they start discussing whatever they want to discuss, and we're in the middle, of course. And here you can see the phones are now on the table, and you can see the simultaneous call thing. It happens, right? That is what happened in the hands of the demo victims there in the previous video. And this is schematic. Slides are available on Kirils.org. You can take a photo if you want, but slides are available. You don't have to. So basically, it's quite simple. We have these two phones, and they can be in the classical PSTN, or there can be mobile phones, as in this demo right here, A and B. And basically, all we need to do, we need to have a voice over IP gateway. Let's say one way to do it is with a trunk connection that allows you to specify your own outgoing numbers, your own clip information. And okay, I'm going to use this over here with my laser pointer. So the first step is we have two different voice over IP endpoints, and the first one calls to number A using identity B. So it says, okay, I'm calling from B. Second endpoint is calling to phone B using identity A. We saw that in the video just now, the very last video, right? And then when they pick up, even though they have the impression of having direct connection, what actually happens is these voice over IP endpoints are in there. And the missing link is we have to set up jack or any other audio redirect tool right here. So basically the audio coming out from this one goes into that one, audio going from that one goes in that one. And while we're at it, why not tap both the audio channels and record them? So that's basically it. Let's move to attack number 2, diversion attack. Now this attack may include social engineering, but it's also possible without social engineering. So it's more powerful, but it is not as easily available if we implement it without social engineering. So let's see the attack. So what happened here is one of the parties legitimately dialed the other party's number, but it was received by my device. And then I spent way too much time trying to connect to the other device from the original number, and then I was in the middle again. Right, so here's the schematic for that. It's similar to the first one, but steps are a bit different. So the first step is we have to set up the diversion. And there are multiple ways to do that. The way that doesn't involve any luck is to use SS7. So if we have, let's say, operator access, if you have a mobile operator or maybe even a virtual operator that has access to SS7, you can issue a divert command from the original number. In this case, that would be number B, saying, I want my call to be diverted somewhere else. In this case, this device right here, Eve. And that's the first step, right? After that's done, whoever calls number B, in this case, legitimate user A, will get diverted to our voice over IP number, E. When that has happened, if we want to, we can immediately cancel the divert. So the next, well, we should actually, for this attack to work, immediately cancel the divert, so that the next call will go to the actual receiver. When that has happened, step 4, similar to the first attack scenario, we call from this voice over IP endpoint to user B, pretending to be user A using clip. And it seems for user A like it's simply a long connection, but for user B it seems like there's an incoming call from this real phone number. I pick it up, they pick it up, they get connected, and everything's fine. But once again, in order for this to work on audio level, we need to connect output to input and output from here to input over there, and we can tap it as well, right? And when that's done, we can once again issue the divert to be able to capture the next phone call. So this is the reliable way, but it needs some additional access. Now, new stuff that I haven't talked about before in the presentation format is going to be in this slide over here. So there are other ways to do that without SS7. They may be less reliable, or they may require special circumstances, or they may need social engineering. So less fun, but still, I thought it's important for you guys to know about them. So there's this protocol standard called enum, basically RFC 2916. I hate how often they update our RFCs. I think now it's RFC 6116, right? So it's been updated two times, right? The original is 2000, year 2000. The newest one is year 2001. This is the original name. The new names are super long. I mean, I swear, guys. Like 2 years later, every RFC is going to have a logo, just like vulnerabilities. It's going to be crazy. This standard basically tells you how to connect DNS and PSTN. Fun standard. Yes, DNS is also fun all by itself. But basically what happens is you have a number in format E.164, which is the global number format. Here's an example of a number. I hope it doesn't belong to anybody. I just found it online and put it in slides to be published. Sorry. The first step is to convert it into this nice notation. If you know domain names, you know that the largest entities are on the right side, right? In this case, ARPA, E164.351.22. Yeah, so it makes sense for it to be reversed. You convert like that. You take a look at NAPTR record, and you get this. If the number uses enum. So basically, the thing is, this is not widely adopted. Even though it's there, I found the new interesting attack when making this slide. So what you can do is you can actually take passive DNS, and you can take a look at all the subdomains of E164.ARPA. And you get the list of phone numbers. So it's not widely used. Yes, but if it is used, or rather, more importantly, if the dialing party supports enum resolution, then we're gonna have fun. But I'm gonna finish the process with you here for those of you who are seeing this for the first time. So basically, we have to look at this entry, and it says, so okay, if you're going to call this phone number here, you can use SIP, so user IP, add this user ID, add this host, and we'll happily accept your incoming call to this number. Right? Okay, so the next step is you have to take a look at the server record for SIP, for that host, and you get an IP address, or rather domain name, which is the last one, and you get a port, which is 5060, in this case, just before the domain name. And then final step, of course, you get the IP address, and that's where you connect. This is how it works normally. Now, DNS being DNS, what happens if you have the opportunity to, let's say, change the answer to one of the queries? It doesn't have to be the first query. You can also do it in the second query or the third query, and then the thing gets rerouted to you, right? But if you do have the opportunity to change the answer in the first query, you don't even have to know much about what's IP. You don't have to set up your own asterisk server or whatever, right? Because this NM standard supports this plus PSTN :tel, which means that basically redirect my phone to that phone number. I just call over the public telephone number, public telephone network, but to that phone number, right? So that's a hack that can be used to achieve that first step. Now, and finally, you can also use social engineering again to some degree. So there are physical attacks, right? Someone has their phone laying around. Just take the phone and call this number here if it's unlocked, and you got a permanent redirect. Yeah. Or you can use phishing, right? For example, hello, this is Doug. Please call this number to get 1 million dinars. Or send an SMS. I think that might work better. Yeah, click here. Actually, I haven't tested it. I think Androids might underline that code over there and allow you to click on it to easily get your 1 million dinars. And of course, you can also use phishing, right? Like this link over here. If you send it in an email and a person opens it up on their phone, it will just dial the number, the redirect code. Yeah, on iPhones and newer Androids, it will confirm that you really want to call the number, but it doesn't look like a phone number. It's like super long and it has asterisks in it, so yeah, just some people will click yes. Yes, stuff happens. So we still have 2 minutes until the end of the Q&A, and my lawyers asked me to include this slide here. So what to do? What to do about this? Well, first of all, for SS7 attacks, we can do SS7 firewalls, of course. And many operators are implementing that, so it's not completely solvable because legitimately you do need roaming if you're in a foreign country. A random operator needs to be able to query stuff about you and submit stuff about you. And most operators, of course, still support redirects even if you're abroad, even though some don't, right? You're abroad and you want to redirect legitimately from your phone. But there are some heuristics and some analysis an operator can do to understand if this is a legitimate command, right? If someone starts spamming interrogate location command over SS7 for every minute, they can probably block it. Then we can do verification of routed clip. There is actually an idea by some security professionals in Latvia to write it into the law, saying that mobile operators have to verify if the clip looks legitimate. So kind of similar to BCP38 for IP addresses. DNSSEC. Well, use DNSSEC, please. How much have you used DNSSEC for your domains? 10, 15 people. I don't. I don't have the time to learn it. I mean, yeah, it's easy, but I trust my luck with random numbers. I mean, attacker will not probably guess the port number of the packet. And finally, you can of course use encrypted communications, like Signal is a good example, or Threema, or Wire when they fixed the RCE that was discovered 2 months ago, not reported by anyone. Thank you so much. Any questions?
I find the enum attack very nice. However, I think it will never work because enum is going the way of the dodo.
Yes, yes. It's not used, that's true. Thanks.
And it was introduced, but it's taken away in a lot of places already. It doesn't exist in a lot of countries.
Do you know why no one uses it? Why no one used it? Almost no one.
Because you had to pay per number to register it in a lot of countries.
Oh, just come to Latvia. It's free. You just have to be an operator. And it's I can't overstate how easy it is to be an operator these days. Any more questions?
Hi, just a quick question about the first attack. When you are calling two people at the same time, do you need some kind of luck to make them to pick up at the same time, or do you have some tricks when like first person picks up immediately and the second person like after 40 seconds? Then like it's kind of suspicious for the first person that like just hear the ringing, or do you have like some tricks for that?
Yes, you do need luck, and there are two ways to get around that. So you can call the persons and then disconnect the call if it doesn't synchronize in time, and then they will be at their phone and will likely pick up immediately on the second try. Or you can just do some social engineering and play them. We're connecting your international call to the jail, blah, blah, blah. And,
Okay, thank you.
just kidding about the second one, but the first one is real, yeah.
Some random static noise also.
Random static noise, yes. Or clicky noises. Actually, when I was flying into Serbia here, one of the media in Latvia wanted an interview with me. Their question was, is it true that if someone listens to your conversation, you hear clicky noises? It's published. You can take a look. It might be. It depends.
So I have a very general question. Do you think that this whole global communication system can be done right? So these kinds of things can be solved? Like, you recommend using secure comms, but can we have these globally standardized?
The answer from the audience is no. Well, working with like trying to fix stuff, trying to get governments to fix stuff has taught me that the short answer is no. Right? From the e-signature thing, for example, like if all of them collaborated, they could rewrite some standards and so on. From a technical perspective, it's possible, right? But then there are two issues with that. So if we put the politics away, from a technical perspective, one issue is that what about old phones, right? How do we get compatibility with older hardware, older protocols, who holds the certificate and all that? Second thing is, I mean, I'm not that old, but I have a feeling that when the publicly switched telephone network was created, one of the ideas there was resilience, even more so than for the internet. And as soon as we introduce some certificates, asynchronous encryption that expire, we lose all that. So I do believe that we actually need technology that that prioritizes availability over protection of confidentiality. And I think that's a place for PSTNs. Yeah.
100+ years of legacy.
So less question but comment. In Germany there's a phone company, so they have decided that eligible calls also only come from outside of the country or something like this. So if you are outside of Germany, you will not get your phone number passed through. So if I'm here or somewhere else outside of Germany, with this one phone company, they don't pass through the phone number anymore because, well, I'm a bad phoner or something, even if I'm their customer.
Thank you for the comment. And my idea of using FLIR is actually that I want to teach the peers around me that clip is not real. That's why I try to not advertise any phone number when I call, because it can be. Actually had the company that manages my house, they weren't picking up my phones, and I went to them physically and I asked what's up, and they said, well, you don't have a phone number, we don't pick that up. And I said to them, okay, so what kind of phone number do you want? And they said, we don't care, just whatever. If it's the same phone number every time, it works. So now I call them from +9876 54321, which is Iran. And it works, they pick up.
Hello, thank you for this. Tell me, are these actions detectable? If your phone, or not your phone, but phone of some subjects are under special measures, the police is eavesdropping it already, can this be detected?
Yes, there are some artifacts of that can be detected. It all depends on your level of access. There is a tool by Carsten Knoll for Android, and do you remember the name? That you can install that allows you to detect some of the attacks or some of the risks on your phone network. Some other aspects are not detectable unless you have access to SS7 yourself. Then you can take a look. Speaking of police investigations, I don't think they are using what we're using or are gonna start using this. This only makes sense if you're maybe trying to remotely spy into some other country, right? Into communication and that. If you're doing it legitimately as a law enforcement agency in your own country, there are really good and clean methods that don't appear anywhere.
Sadly, that's all the time we have for more questions and another applause. Thank you.